91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative. Brought to you by the Student Activity Fee here at Buffalo State College. This is All Talk Monday, WBNY's public affairs programming that airs Monday mornings till midnight. The views expressed in all the various All Talk Monday shows are not necessarily those of WBNY, the United Students Government at Buffalo State, or Buffalo State itself. Due to the opinionated nature of these programs, listener discretion is highly advised. If you have any questions or comments about All Talk Monday, you can direct them to WBNY's All Talk Monday, 1300 Elmwood Avenue, Buffalo, New York, 14222. For more information, check out our website at wbny.buffalostate.edu, or you may give us a call at the station at 716-878-5104 and take part in all the various All Talk Monday shows.
Good afternoon, Buffalo State College, Buffalo and surrounding suburbs. Today is Monday, September 28th. Good. All right. They're like, today's Monday, September 28th, and the time is 12:36. And you are listening to Vantage Point, the weekly 2:30 to 4 p.m. show on 91.3 WBNY, dedicated to social and environmental justice issues affecting the people of Western New York, not covered by the mainstream media. I'm Jack Knack, the weather medic, the Dr. Weather. I am joined today in Studio A by my co-host, WBNY Public Affairs Coordinator, All Talk Monday Coordinator, Jessica Kosick. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. Over the weekend, I actually went out to the Tribute Garden event, which ended up being awesome. There was 95 different basket raffles and so many people.
No, that's great. I was somewhere else the same day. There was a lot going on. I was with Evelyn Hart's one of our guests today, and we were at the Environmental Summit at Damon College.
Was that the rally?
Well, we did the rally on Thursday. On Saturday, we were at an environmental summit.
I thought that there was, what is that, the parental green thing? Parents?
No, it was an environmental summit of all different types of environmental organizations put on at Damon College. So it was a networking thing. But then Thursday, we were at the Rise Up for Climate Justice. Okay. And John Rath, another one of our guests today, was there.
How is Charlie? Is it Charlie Tarr? He was doing the walk?
No, that's Charlie Bowman.
Charlie Bowman. How is he?
Well, that walk starts the 7th of October.
I know that we just had and for the Empower Hour, I think it was last week, we had somebody, the chief's assistant of UPD. She does a bike ride from Boston to New York City.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we have a guest in studio too, John Rath. We'll get to that later. He was featured in the Dallas paper. He did a daily bicycle commute of several, I think it'll tell you how many miles. But we'll get to that in a second.
This is the first time I've ever heard of people walking or biking long distances for a cause.
You gotta. We'll have to talk to John here. We got our guests here, so we'll get right into it. Okay. So on today's show, if you didn't guess already, it's all about environmental justice until 4 p.m. right here on 91.3 WBNY Buffalo. We have where I throw out various topics of local, national, and international importance, and my distinguished panel of guests will give their professional opinions. So, Jessica, why don't you introduce the guest panel? But we're going to start with John Rath here at the, like Paul Harvey would say, at the bottom of page 2. Page 2, people.
All right, we have John Rath is representing the Niagara chapter of the Sierra Club and is a member of the executive committee. He was the chair of the Dallas Sierra XCOM and a member of the Texas chapter XCOM. He also got front page coverage from the Dallas Morning News twice for his daily 42-mile commute to and from work, which he did for 22 years. He is also founding chair of the Keep Grapevine Beautiful Texas organization, which is an affiliate to Keep America Beautiful. And finally, we have also in the room, we have Evelyn Hartz, has followed GMOs since 2004 and is involved with the local efforts to pass GMO labeling legislation in New York through Label It Western New York. She is a retired RN and a certified holistic health coach. Evelyn has been an active member of the WOYP committee.
That's World on Your Plate.
World on Your Plate committee.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, I know you didn't know that.
She co-founded and chairs Green Cuisine, a monthly gathering of people interested in wholesome nutritious foods. Evelyn Hartz will talk about genetically modified organisms and the World on Your Plate food sustainability conference coming up Columbus Day, Saturday at Damon College.
Right. Okay, and I have some... we have a big studio audience in here. We're just grabbing some applause. Okay. So, John, why don't you tell us about your bike commute since Jessica was mentioning it earlier.
Well, there's lots to tell, Jack. That was a very fun 22-year experience.
You did it for 22 years.
Right. In Texas, the weather is fairly conducive to bike riding, although I won't lie, there were a few thunderstorms, occasional near tornadoes, and lightning strikes that you had to kind of watch out for.
Not to mention the hail.
Yeah. Also, things like riding through poured concrete that looked really solid but wasn't.
Jeez.
I definitely made the day of those road workers. Running into a parked vehicle, an old truck that just happened to be occupied by a 8.5-month pregnant woman who was lost, so I was able to help out that way. And then other fun things like when a young man right in front of me driving his dad's new Wrangler truck turned it over because he tried to avoid a squirrel, and I just happened to be able to pull him out.
I know.
Pull him out of his truck at the last minute. That was a little bit scary.
You're Jessica's right. It happens a lot that if people see an animal like on a throughway, they try to swerve. You just got to, I'm an environmental person, but you got to hit the animal because you're going to roll over.
I had a raccoon once, and I had nightmares for days.
Yeah.
The truth is, I enjoy riding bicycles. It was great exercise. Actually, because of the heavy traffic in the North Texas area, I got to work sooner than people that were driving cars at rush hour. People would call me at work and say, "You beat me here." So that's kind of the real reason. I can tell you that also, if I want to rationalize it for those people that are really skeptics, I saved some $120 a year on my insurance because I wasn't classified in any of their other categories.
You were a casual driver.
That's right.
Yes.
I could put more miles on my bicycle than my car.
You had to have insurance for your bike?
No. When they give you your driving, they ask you where you work, and if you don't work, like say I work from home, I would be a casual driver because I'm a lower risk because I'm not driving all over the place.
Is it about mileage or the distance?
I think they factor all of those things in there.
Yeah.
It's a formula that the insurance companies use, but I wasn't on the road as much in a car, so they lowered my insurance. I saved a lot of money in gas because at that time gas was anywhere from $2 to $4 a gallon. I could eat anything that I wanted to. I was the healthiest guy in town. And so if you want to rationalize it for those that must have rational reasons, those are some good ones. But quite frankly, it was a fun thing to do, and it was a nice way to start your day and end your day.
How fast were you biking?
I'm going to guess about 15 miles per hour, which is not a slow pace, and it's not a super fast pace either.
It's a good pace.
I didn't have to worry about the Olympic folks trying to recruit me.
So did you have sidewalks, or are you just driving, or are you driving with the people that are on the street?
In Texas, there are very few sidewalks on major roads. Texas needs to catch up to where other states are from a pedestrian and bicycle transportation standpoint. I luckily had a pretty wide shoulder. When they built the roads, they anticipated having to expand the lanes, but when I was riding on it, it just it didn't need that. And so I had a pretty straight way to ride on the edge of the road.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, and of course in Texas it's flat, so you had no really hills to speak of. So
just headwinds and a lot of sun.
Okay. All right. So let's get to Evelyn. How you doing, Evelyn?
I'm fine, Jack. Thanks. How are you?
Oh, all right. Evelyn comes here from going to talk about World on Your Plate. And why don't you tell us a little bit about World on Your Plate and where it's being held and what World on Your Plate is all about?
Well, World on Your Plate was started back, well, it came out of a program from the Peace Center, which way back and, after 9/11, there was a group of people that was trying to come up with ways to prevent such a thing from happening again. And most of those programs went elsewhere, but out of that came the desire to have something centered around food. And we held our first food conference at Pilgrim St. Luke in 2004. And we had 3 guest speakers, and we prepared the dinner, and it was a very lovely affair. And we repeated again the following year. John Mowak was our guest speaker then, and from then on it's grown. We were at First Pres for several years, and now the last 7 years we have been at Damon College. We offer 20 to 25 workshops that people can choose from. We have guest speakers, either 1 or 2 keynote speakers, and sometimes we do a movie. There's organic, local food that Damon prepares for us, and we have music, and there will be a Mexican-Spanish dance. So it'll be a lot of fun this year.
And who's the keynote speaker?
The keynote speakers this year are Jonathan Bloom, who is going to be talking about food waste, what happens to the food that we don't eat. And our other keynote is Rowan White, who will be talking about seeds and how they are related to sustainability. And she will be speaking on Saturday. Jonathan Bloom is speaking on Friday evening.
Okay. And why don't you tell us the website?
That's simple. It's www.worldonyourplate.org.
Okay, Jessica, do you have any questions for
No.
Evelyn right now? Okay. I'm going to get to some other announcements here, and then we'll start the show. How does that sound? And if any of our guests have any questions on the announcements, just feel free to jump in, okay? All right, let me just get to the right spot here.
Or if you have questions for the guests, you can call 716-878-5104.
Right, all environmental today. So what we're doing today is we're asking everybody to support renewable heating and cooling by calling Governor Cuomo today at area code 518-474-1041 and ask him to sign Senate Bill 2905, the geothermal tax credit, and Senate Bill 4279, the geo sales tax exemption, both of which were passed by the legislature. I don't know, John, if you're familiar with any of these from the Sierra Club standpoint. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Jack, I can talk a little bit to it. I'm wondering if your listeners really understand what geothermal is. It's, I think, a best-kept secret in terms of renewable and sustainable energy that we've got.
Well, why don't you tell us, because I think it's a wonderful technology that's now becoming affordable.
Most people are familiar with solar panels, where sunlight is directly translated into electricity. And that's wonderful. It's prospering. There's a lot of it. We've got a big manufacturing facility here in Western New York. But many people don't realize that the sun also heats the ground to a certain level and a certain temperature year-round, even in cold places like Buffalo and Western New York, and that heat energy stays in the ground and can be basically farmed. It can be taken through a bunch of techniques called geothermal heating and cooling to basically provide a nice, comfortable temperature in your home year-round. In the summer, it takes hot air out of your house and puts it in the ground. And in the winter, it brings warm temperature, warm air from the ground into your house. And it does this through a thing called a geothermal heat pump, little tiny heat pump that runs on a little bit of electricity to make sure you're comfortable all year round. It's a wonderful thing. The bills that you talked about have been passed by both chambers of the state legislature. No one has opposed it. It's all about making geothermal heating and cooling equal to what solar and wind energy gets in terms of public support. So it's not asking for anything more. It's just asking to be equal with those two also very good forms of alternate energy. And so it's on the governor's desk, hoping to get signed. And so any support from these listeners would be really helpful.
It's a state day of support. So we're trying to blitz the governor once again to urge him to pass Senate Bill 2905, the geothermal tax credit, and Senate Bill 4276, the geosales tax exemption. And his number is area code 518-474-1041. And it would be a credit for up to $5,000.
That's correct.
Yep.
Is it just like you call the governor and you say to pass this bill and this bill, but like what if he asks you, is he going to ask you any kind of question, or is that all the information that they need?
Jessica, good question. If you're lucky, you'll be able to answer a question directly of the governor or his staff. Usually you end up leaving a message with a reception type person or a voicemail. But if anyone were to be so lucky, you do not